Hello, everybody. So, welcome to the Santiago and Chuck show. And my name's Santiago. And doing the show tonight. And we're getting it running right now. And tonight we have a guest on the show. It's Dave.
Hey guys.
And Dave's here to. He's got some stuff he's going to talk about, like neuropathic disorders.
No, I thought we were
He's
going
a
to do movies
doctor.
or something. I thought we were going to do movie reviews.
Hey, Dave, do you ever get muscle twitches?
Sure, but let's do the movie reviews.
What do you
I don't want to talk about
muscle twitches?
illnesses. Yeah.
I got a muscle twitch, and just a little worried that it's connected to like a kind of is it like a neuropathic? What I call it?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what to call it, but neuropathic disorder. When I get a muscle twitch, what is that?
I don't know, Chuck.
But Santiago is on a plane right now. I think he's going to Germany. He's going to Berlin. He's on his way to Berlin. I don't know what he's going there for. I think he's got some kind of business or pleasure or something like that. And Dave, so how's it going tonight?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So Santiago gave me a bunch of audio files that he gave today. I saw him before he left today, and he gave me a bunch of audio files that gave me, and I couldn't make. There's like 50 audio files total, and I couldn't really make any sense out of them. So what I decided to do instead was to play a drum beat on my drums at home, and then freestyle on GarageBand the show tonight. So I put a drum beat in GarageBand that I played about 45 minutes ago. And I thought what I could do is freestyle. So I don't know, Dave, are you engaged in the show here?
Yeah. Would you like to talk about some movies?
Actually, I don't want to jump right into all the topics that we have in store tonight.
Sure.
But I think one of the problems with the show is, or like a real challenge for the show is going to be dead air, I guess.
Dead air.
Yeah, so we want to.
We don't want dead air.
We definitely want to avoid dead air
So,
on the show.
well, let's start out by talking about what did you have for dinner?
I didn't have. I had some watermelon a little while ago.
That was it?
I had some watermelon and tortilla, beans, cheese.
Wow.
So you know what this Is that a call? Hey, so you guys can call in. We're ready to take some calls. It's Dave and Chuck. Dave's filling in for Santiago. That's me drumming in the background from about 45 minutes ago. Sounds pretty great. You know, I'm into being the change that I want to see in the world. That's my main thing right now. You know, right? I know you are too, right?
Right.
You're into being the change that you want to see in the world.
Right.
So then, I'm really determined to not distort this week.
Great.
So I'm not going to distort my mic, but you can go right ahead and distort the heck out of yours. And so today, like our first topic today is Dave's video picks for River West Film and Video, and maybe a brief review, and we can talk about them. So, what's your first movie?
Well, Chuck, it's like this.
How's it go?
The great thing about River West Video is that they offer so many
Film and video.
Film and video is that they offer so many choices that you just can't rent anywhere else. The guy who runs the store does a great job of stacking up on titles that you just can't find anywhere else. And what's interesting about this store, it's really the last of the true independent video stores. It's kind of a throwback to Video Visions, if anybody remembers that place in the Prospect Mall, which before chain stores like Blockbuster came along were really the places to go and get movies. And they had a wide selection of interesting titles that people were able to rent. Now, as soon as the chain video stores came along, a lot of those stores began to fall by the wayside. But I'm proud to say that River West Film and Video is one of the last independent video stores, and that you can still find a really great selection of stuff, oddball titles. I thought we'd take a look at possibly some of the titles that are available for rent here and let you know what they are.
Okay.
One of the ones here that I would recommend to viewers is a really interesting film called Petey Wheatstraw.
Petey Wheatstraw.
Made in 1977 and starring African-American comedian Rudy Ray Moore, who has since died, but who was an underground comedian back in the 60s and 70s. Petey Wheatstraw is an amazing film, probably one of the funniest as well as creative films I've seen. It was part originally of the blaxploitation genre of films, which were popular in the 70s.
So wait a second. So what is that? Blaxploitation?
Well, yeah, blaxploitation was a genre of filmmaking in the 70s that was quite popular. It was called blaxploitation, and Quentin Tarantino's a big fan of it. Pam Grier was in a lot of the films. Blackula would be an example. Shaft, Superfly. These were some of the better-known titles. But Rudy Ray Moore was a comedian who made several interesting titles during this time period, and I'd say Petey Wheatstraw is quite possibly his best film. And it's about a guy who kind of makes a deal with the devil and gets all these magical powers. But it's quite comical. It was kind of an underground film when it first came out in the 70s, but has since gained quite a cult following, so to speak. I would recommend it highly. If you get down to River West Film and Video, definitely check out Petey Wheatstraw.
So
this is one of those films that a lot of people don't know about that I think deserves its due.
Petey Wheatstraw. So the first film to see from River West Film and Video, Dave's picks of the week or the month is I guess we're supposed to have dynamic, interesting voices when you're on the internet thing.
Let me try and put it to you a little more dynamically. Petey Wheatstraw would definitely be a film to come check out.
Okay, cool. That's great, Dave. Thanks a lot. I'm into that. I think everyone's on pins and needles to find out what your second choice is.
Oh, that's a good question, Chuck. What is my second choice? I'm going to tell you right now. It's The Candy Snatchers.
Candy Snatcher.
The Candy Snatchers, a 1973
What
film.
section of the video store is that in?
You can find Candy Snatchers in kind of the exploitation film section of the
Another
video
exploitation
store.
film?
Yeah, but let me tell you a little bit about the Candy Snatchers. It's an unsung gem, if ever there was one.
Really?
It's kind of a low budget Hitchcockian in the vein or in the vanguard of Alfred Hitchcock, so to speak, in the style of Hitchcock. but spiced up with 70s style. The Candy
Really?
Snatchers revolves around the plot of 3 kidnappers who kidnap a rich girl named Candy and bury her alive, but keep her alive in the hopes that her father will pay a ransom. In the meantime, the whole thing is observed by a little boy who witnesses the whole thing and begins to make life difficult for the kidnappers.
Oh.
Now, I can't say any more because this film takes so many twists and turns that it'll just blow your mind.
Sounds absolutely awful to me.
Why would you say that?
You like it? Because
If you like a good...
usually when things get when people get so what happens to the girl? They torture her and stuff.
No. You've totally misunderstood. There's actually very little violence in the film.
Okay.
It's quite a
I misunderstood.
suspenseful film, mainly revolving around this little boy who witnesses the kidnappers, and the kidnappers attempt to silence the little boy, and things take a huge turn. It's somewhat reminiscent of a 1949 classic film starring the young, youthful actor Bobby Driscoll called The Window. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
The Window, I haven't heard of
where
that. No.
a little boy witnesses a crime through a window.
Huh.
This is an old theme in Hollywood, actually. Children witnessing crimes and nobody believes them, except, of course, for the criminal.
Huh.
But The Candy Snatchers is one that if you get a chance to check it out...
The Boy Who Cried Wolf, kind of.
Kind of, exactly. If you really want to see a film, though, that kicks, I can't recommend anything better than The Candy Snatchers. I was...
Go ahead.
Edge of my seat.
Really?
Edge of my seat.
So you're one of those kind of, you have those quirky genius, like you have particular interests that you really delve into in depth.
Well, I'm a big fan of films made in the 70s and 80s. And,
like St. Elmo's Fire.
yeah, that's a good one. Got that at home in my personal collection.
But of course, that wasn't on your list today, so I
not
digress.
today. But we do have some other films.
I'm trying to talk all relaxed and lucidly today.
It sounds like it, yeah.
I'm trying to make everything, smooth sailing for the show.
Well, I've got 10 films here that we can go over.
That was the second one.
Now, it's funny you should mention the fact that these are a bit quirky or oddball films, because the next film I'm going to talk about is a film that's very well known, actually. But it's one of my picks.
Huh.
Because in my opinion, it captures the lifestyle of the 80s to a T. The yuppie lifestyle. Do you remember in the 80s, the neon restaurants, the sushi, the kind of techno music that would play as the young yuppies who were young and rich would drone on in a cafe in New York City, or possibly San Francisco, eating fine food and unaware of the fact that they were making so much money at such a young age. It was the go-go 80s, and no film captures that period better than my next choice, which is Wall Street. Wall Street, starring Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have seen Wall Street, because Wall Street's a fairly well-known film. But if you haven't seen it, it's one that I would...
Everyone's seen Wall Street. I think the first two, no one has seen those two.
Right,
and if you have, you can call in right now.
You can...
And if you call in right now and you can tell Dave something about that film, we'll give you $1.
But Wall Street is a film that you should definitely check out. I've seen it many times, and I never get sick of it. I never get sick of Wall Street.
That's funny, Dave. That's great. Yeah.
Chuck, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen Wall Street?
I have seen Wall Street, yeah. You know, my favorite part of Wall Street is...
what?
Is when the union wins, man.
That is really good.
Because I want to be the change that I want to see, and part of the change that I want to be is, that I want the unions to win. I don't want the airlines to get broken up, and but I never understood why the Charlie Sheen character let Michael Douglas beat him up in that park.
Well, it's fairly simple to understand. Charlie Sheen wanted to succeed, and he was blind. He didn't realize that Michael Douglas was somebody who was going to drag him down into the dark alleys
I would
of greed.
I would have fought Michael Douglas back.
Well, he did in the end, remember? He does in the end.
Fought him?
He ruins him in the end, remember?
Yeah, did he? Oh yeah, he was he had that
the wire.
The wire, he's wearing a wire. Yeah.
And Michael Douglas punches him in the face on the golf course.
And hands him a handkerchief.
He says, "Hey, buddy, I brought you up in the world, and this is how you repay me."
Yeah, it's not good to be a rat though. To sneak.
It's not good to be a rat. You're right.
To sneak a wire.
No, it's not good to be a rat because we all know what happens to rats. Hey, Viducci.
What was that? Some kind of something against Italian people or something?
Not really, but it was meant to kind of indicate that, hey, Big Brother's looking out for you.
But
wow, that's some really loud music.
Is it really loud on your headphones?
Yeah. Now, let's take a look at another title that I noticed here in the video store. If you really want to be in for a suspenseful film.
I do. I'm into
It's Hitchhike.
Hitchhike?
A 1978 release starring David Hess and Franco
Who's
Nero.
the director?
Made in Italy. It was made in Italy.
Do you know the director off the top of your head?
Can't remember. But it is an Italian suspense film dubbed into English that's second to none.
Really?
It's about a couple that picks up a hitchhiker. And that's all I'm going to say.
But Dave, this is, you're supposed to be tantalizing the audience with video pics.
Well, I just did because I'm telling you right now that Hitchhike is one of those films where you never know what's happening until the very end. It's a twist and a turn and a turn and a twist. Second to none.
Hitchhike.
Hitchhike.
Who's the star of it again?
David Hess and Franco Nero.
And
fairly well-known genre actors.
But you like those films for the stylistics or the content?
It's an amazing film. It's got style. It's got content.
It has style and content.
And it's one of those offbeat films that people just don't know about.
The narrative, I meant.
The reason I'm talking about a lot of these films tonight, except for Wall Street, of course, is because they're films that people don't know about that deserve a look.
Yeah. And I'm sure that Zav in the video store is gonna appreciate the way that you really increase the rentership, if that's the right way to say it. Like you're really promoting. You're like a pitch man.
Well, I would hope so.
Right.
Because it's my intention
To pitch.
to try and get people to take a little more note of titles that just aren't very well known. I'm just going to move the mic here and adjust it a bit.
There you go.
Okay.
It's always good to be more comfortable.
Right. Now, do you have any questions you want to ask me before we move on here to some other titles?
Well, I was interested in to find out a little bit more about Hitchhike. So,
Well, Hitchhike concerns a couple that picks up an evil hitchhiker. But the question as the movie goes on is he really an evil hitchhiker? Or is there more to it than meets the eye? It has one of the best twist endings I've ever seen.
really,
An amazing twist. In fact, when I saw the twist ending, the thing that went through my mind was jealousy that I couldn't have thought up this type of ending.
wow.
You've really got to be something special with imagination to think up an ending like this. And you have to wait till like the last 2 or 3 minutes before you get to the total twist.
Huh.
I didn't have that kind of geniosity. These are true
Geniosity?
These are true mystery writers who can put these things together.
Huh. And it's really kind of easy to engineer the show and to talk at the same time. It's very simple, and I'm sure anyone can do it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. song that I just made up about 45 minutes ago. Do you want to freestyle? Do you want to take a break and maybe try to freestyle?
Not really. I don't know much about music, so.
The only I can only really get the only sound effect I can get on GarageBand to go with this is like some type of bell on this computer. It doesn't have any of the instruments installed, so it's really a bummer. Because if I had more instruments installed, I would surely be playing them. But yeah. So we've gone through 3 movies so far.
3. Now we don't have to go through all 10.
No, I definitely.
But
I definitely wanna.
Well, then my next pick here
through all 10
is something that has always been one of my favorite fantasy movies.
I'm sorry that I keep laughing at everything you say.
Equinox, made in 1970. If you have not seen Equinox, well, let me put it to you this way. You're missing a little bit of magic in life. Because Equinox is one of the most interesting films I've ever seen. Now, here's something interesting about Equinox. It was originally made by a group of students at the University of California, Los Angeles as a film project, and a major film distributor saw the footage they had shot and offered them money to turn it into a feature film. Isn't that interesting?
Wait, I wasn't paying attention. Which I think is a crucial thing that people that are hosting a radio show, they're supposed to pay attention to their guests. Sorry, can you say it? Well, don't say it again, but wait, it was, I think you said something about...
But the interesting thing about Equinox is that it was started as a student film project by some film students at the University of Los Angeles. And a major distributor saw their footage and offered them money to turn it into a feature film. So, Equinox... I can't say enough good about Equinox.
and
it features great stop-motion effects. It's a true classic in the fantasy, horror, science fiction genre.
Really?
People who are into these kind of movies... No, not at all. People who are into these...
I hate gory movies.
Yeah, I'm not big into gory movies either. People who are into these kinds of movies, though, should not miss Equinox. Well, that music's kind of not going at all with what we're talking about, but that's all right.
Dave, the music is going at all. Omnius Dance Floor. I have that one installed on this computer. This is not Omnius Dance Floor. And so what'd you have for dinner today?
I haven't eaten yet, but I think when I get out of here, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to go to Oakland Euros, and I'm going to carry it out and bring it over to your house and eat it in the backyard. We can sit in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to eat a big Euro platter in front of you.
We'll talk about movies.
Okay.
Dead air.
Yeah, well, don't let the air go dead. Hey, what did you think of that hot weather? It didn't bother me at all. You know why? Because I know I could have lived in the cowboy days. I'm actually thinking of hitting the road one day, quitting my job, just hitting the road.
You told me that you were considering becoming a street person.
Or a hobo.
You were considering becoming, or you were admiring some guys that were, you were in the big city and on the West Coast, and a couple of weeks ago, and you were admiring
hobos
as they were sitting there and the businessmen were walking by.
Yep,
right?
I was in San Francisco, which we're going to get to in a few minutes anyway, and saw some street guys on the street, and I was thinking to myself, are they that bad off? Maybe they got a better life than a lot of people think. Maybe it's everybody else who's got the hard life.
But then again, my whole thing is I hate not knowing what I'm going to eat next. You know?
You hate not knowing when you're going to eat next.
Yeah, I've had a period in my life like that, and it sucked.
I think some of those guys got a little more going on than people think. Like, I was watching some of them, they'd perform on the street for money, but then, like, when nobody was looking and all that, they'd kind of shut down.
So you told me about that one guy who I saw probably about, it was like 1997.
Oh, that guy's great. Buy My Art. Yeah.
The Buy My Art guy?
He's still there
He's
after
still
15
there.
years. Young guy on the street in San Francisco. If you ever get to San
He's
Francisco.
really about 45 years old. I think.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
He
But
is. He's about 45. He was on the street.
he stands in front of the St. Francis Hotel.
He used to be on Haight Street all the time.
On the corner of Geary and Powell. And,
he moved up. He's in Union Square now.
yep, Union Square. And he's got an easel that he holds with him, and he flips it over. In my opinion, and I don't like to pass judgment on people's work, but put it this way, I wouldn't buy his art. But he stands on the corner and says, "Buy my art."
He's real aggressive. Aggressively.
It's good art. Buy my art.
That's what he says.
That's how
he was
start-
saying that. He was actually saying that in 1997 when I first saw him.
That's how he starts out. But then if you walk by and
I
give
remember.
him,
I think I said, "Okay, no," and then he. I kept walking and he proceeded to yell after me for like.
I think he did the same thing to me
as I walked down the whole block.
when I was walking by him. I think I was looking at it, but I wasn't buying it, and I thought I heard him like yell after me something to the effect of, "You can pretend to ignore it," or something like that. He's great, man. He gets real rude and kind of angry, like, which just kind of makes you want to walk by and.
That's his performance, right?
And look at his art.
He's like, I'm the asshole.
But
he's so well known.
What I was thinking of doing is doing my own performance with him, where I would.
Oh, I'm not supposed to swear.
Where I would repeatedly walk by, keep looking at the art, and that would be my performance to get him like.
You gotta do it for 15 years.
Yeah, get him angrier and angrier, and just keep looking.
He was
at
friends
the
with
art.
one of my friends.
Really?
There. Yeah.
I should have done that, but what can you do, man?
Yeah, that guy. The Buy My Art guy. The guy that hides behind the bush and scares guys.
I think he's gone. I heard he
he's
ran
out
into
of
some.
business.
I heard he ran into some
He got
trouble
sued.
or something. He had to hire a bodyguard because people were trying to beat him up or something because he was pissing too many people off.
You know, I think that the Buy My Art guy. What if that guy made like $50,000 a year, like selling his kind of the representational, kind of depressing, kind of ink and pencil drawings, right? Are they still like that?
Yeah,
No
they're.
color?
Frankly, I didn't like them at all. They
Just a lot of like, he's like,
he would just draw one object on a piece of paper,
Like a
like a
tree.
guitar or something. Yeah.
and then
Buy my art.
Yeah.
It's good art. Buy
I
my
wonder if he's
art.
Okay.
What?
I wonder how he's doing.
I've never seen anybody
I guess
buy
he
it.
looks young because he doesn't look like he's 40 anymore.
I don't know. Maybe he's 35, 40.
Yeah,
It's-
maybe he was 20 back then. That's probably.
It's hard to
so he's
say.
About 35, so
But
pretty young actually.
you just don't
Yeah,
know.
that guy's pretty great. What? That's what I say. I always say, yeah, pretty great, pretty great. What about so that preacher guy was gone? You told
Didn't
me
see the
that.
preacher, man. The guy who stands on
That
the.
guy was always out there.
He was out there 10 years, but I didn't see him this time. Maybe he's finally moved on, man. Maybe he's finally moved on. Would you like to hit the road, Chuck?
I'm looking to stay home more.
Really?
Yeah.
What about becoming a hobo?
You know, I actually played these drums.
I think I could have been a hobo back
I-
in the days. Back in the
Jazzy.
20s.
Huh?
I think I could have been a hobo.
I thought you were thinking about being a hobo now.
Just traveling on the trains.
Yeah. Riding the rails. I think
Cooking a little
a
can
lot
of-
of people are doing that. It's
Cooking a little
it'd be
can
crowded.
of beans over a campfire.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Who is that guy who just left the store? I've seen him before.
That guy, really? I've never seen that person before, ever.
No, I have.
Really? Should we just talk about people walking by and see if we know them? That could work.
Yeah.
So the fifth movie on your list is...
Four Flies on Grey Velvet.
Four Flies on Grey Velvet.
Made by the master of Italian suspense, Dario Argento.
Oh, wow. What's his famous movie, Dario?
He's got tons of them.
But no, the really
Suspiria
big one.
was a big one.
Suspiria, that's it. Suspiria.
But he is really great.
Suspiria.
Four Flies on Grey Velvet is an interesting movie. The premise is a policeman or something like that discovers a series of murder victims, and that by looking at the retinas on their eyes, they're able to figure out that the last thing they saw before they died were four flies, and they can't figure out why that is. So,
Good movie.
yeah, this is really quite a film. Really quite a film.
Can you elaborate any further on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting
Roger
premise.
Ebert?
It's not a true story, but there was a theory years ago, which I don't think is true. There was an old theory among police departments that with murder victims, if somehow you could capture the image that was frozen on the retina of their eye before they died, that you could see the murder, and that somehow then that would allow you to track down the murder. So Four Flies on Grey, it was just a fictional thing. It doesn't really, you can't really do that. But it was a theory years ago among detectives that if somehow you could capture the image that was frozen in the retina at the time of death, it would reveal the identity of the murderer and they could capture the killer. Four Flies on Grey Velvet elaborates on that concept where they discover a series of murder victims who the last thing they saw were an image of four flies. Now, why four flies? Nobody can figure that out. But when they do figure it out, it reveals the identity of the murderer.
And is it a cliffhanger?
It's pretty good. It's definitely in that cliffhanger type of...
Or was it a... How do you describe those tricky endings that you like?
It definitely has an interesting ending, a real twist ending.
A twist. There's a twist at the end. Okay, so that one sounds great, man.
It's right here.
I have to say that, you know, if people really were paying attention to your picks, I'm sure you're dead on with some good picks, but they're probably having a little trouble paying attention.
Maybe they're not listening. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we probably have everyone pretty excited. The past 2 weeks, I've had I actually have my cool radio voice, so there's nothing happening. Last week's show was a challenge. You were here. So, you know, so at number 5, maybe we should stop and talk about our other topic today, which is, now we could do a bunch of topics with you, and I'd be really interested in possibly doing neurological disorders.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about neurological disorders?
I really don't.
Okay.
Let's not talk about unhappy things.
Okay. So you want to talk about something happy, and I know that you're pretty pumped about. Well, why don't you introduce the next topic, and that's...
The next topic I'm going to mention is the greatest store in the United States of America. The greatest retail store in the United States of America. And I'm going to say it again. The greatest retail store in the United States of America.
Okay, and that is, go ahead and say it.
Cable Car Clothiers in San Francisco, California.
We're definitely having a San Francisco feed here, and let everybody know that we were buddies out in San Francisco.
That's
back
right.
In the day. So we would hang, and I never actually went to the Cable Car Clothiers with you, but you've been talking about it, so...
Let me give you a little background. Only in a city like San Francisco could such a place exist.
Cable Car Clothiers.
75 years Cable Car Clothiers has been around. What do we got here, man? And
Can't hear us.
he's trying to hear. You'll have to come in the store.
But you were talking about cable car clothiers.
Cable car clothiers. And it is, without a doubt, quite possibly the greatest store in America.
And then how did it, so it piqued your interest.
What is Cable Car Clothiers? People are probably wondering. What is it? It's a store that specializes in gentleman British goods. A throwback to the days of the Royal British Man.
Gentleman British goods.
Gentleman British goods, but
is that really what they call it?
It is really cool stuff. In addition, it also sells a lot of very interesting American Western goods that are a throwback to the days. Lots of stuff by Filson, which is a company many people never heard of, which is a company that used to make products for the National Forest Service, and they make some of the finest, most durable products you can have.
Really? Quality's good stuff. You know?
Now, the interesting thing about... What is that yelling there?
I don't know. No, exactly sure.
Interesting thing about Cable Car Clothiers is it...
it's not me, no matter what.
It's been around for 75 years, and the original owner is still alive. Charles Pivnick.
The old man.
The old guy, but he's still there. Although his grandson kind of runs the store now. If you're ever in San Francisco, I would not miss this place. It is the coolest place.
Although they're kind of changing their style.
They're going to be changing their theme a bit, which is a bit tragic, but they're going to be in their present location to September. And I would definitely get there if you can. They're selling a lot of stuff.
And they're on like Sansom and
Bush. Sansom and Bush. They also have San Francisco's finest selection of cool hats.
Right.
They're renowned throughout. They're also renowned throughout the world for their famous mail order catalog, which for years featured pictures of every hat conceivable. The British Bobby police hat, the African safari hat as worn by the British troops in India. These are things that Cable Car Clothiers sold.
I'm interested in finding out some more about some of those hats.
They've got any hat you can think of. The Tyrolean game hat from Bavaria. Gentlemanly British hats. One time they were selling an original British chauffeur's cap. What was amazing about it is when it was on the shelf, there was a sign next to it that said, "Original British chauffeur's cap." You may think I'm just going on and on here, but Cable Car Clothiers has a cult following that's huge. Look them up sometime.
Unparalleled or something.
People around the world have been fascinated by this store for years. And when you get there, you can see why.
What else about Cable Car Clothiers did you want to...
Well, ask me some questions about it, and I'll tell you anything you want to know.
So I guess you had an interesting experience at Cable Car Clothiers. So usually you go to Cable Car Clothiers once a year. Mm-hmm. You live in Milwaukee now.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes twice a year I'd get there, but they know that I'm such a fan of the store that this time when I came down, they actually let me work in the store and made me an honorary employee.
They had you... What was the tasks that they had you do?
They had me go through and organize 45 years worth of Cable Car Clothier catalogs, which are probably, I would say, in layout and design, highly artistic. These are not just any old catalog.
Right.
Whoever laid these things out...
So you kind of were an archivist or something?
Well, he's going to make me their archivist.
He is, wow.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and get some of the stuff on the internet scanned in. I got to find somebody with a scanner.
Huh.
And then
so
we can probably get some of this stuff scanned in.
Move one for your new archival career.
Correct.
I think you'd do a great job, right?
I would really like to work on it. Yeah, I sure would.
And so you were archiving catalogs and didn't have you move any boxes or anything like that.
Oh, sure. I did some of that, yeah.
You moved some boxes?
Sure.
What about, did you go back in the storeroom or anything like
Yep.
that? You did?
I organized some of the stuff in the storeroom.
And what was back there?
Tons of old, cool displays from way back when.
Huh.
That's what was back there.
Oh, they had all the classic displays back in the...
One thing about that store, when you walk by it, it always looks very old-fashioned because they put out a lot of old-fashioned displays. So they give it that real kind of old-fashioned look to it.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it really cool.
That old kind of Britishy thing.
Yep, very Britishy. Sometimes they do traditional American, cowboyish type look, but...
Santiago gave me like 50 files that are all... Oh no. It's playing all left over and over again, but hey. This is a really good show. I'm really proud of this show. I think this one's a winner.
So here come those guys outside the window again that you were talking to earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's, he lives here, so. Or, you know, he works at the store.
Who does? That guy?
The person I was talking to, yeah.
With the red shirt on?
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. So, what do you think of this place next door here? Is that like a hookah bar or something like that?
I think that's kind of what it is, yeah.
Wow.
What do you think about hookah bars? So what? Let's go back to number 6. What's your number 6 movie?
Oh, that would be Mondo Cane Part 1 and 2. Has anybody ever heard of Mondo Cane?
Mondo Cane.
World famous movies made in the 60s.
And it's in the video store here. In what section? Do you remember?
They're in the kind of documentary-ish, I think, weird section. They were movies that examined bizarre things that went on in the world that people just didn't know about. And I would definitely recommend checking those out, too.
Mondo Cane and
Part 1 and 2, yeah.
You like that? Why? Or why are you into?
They were famous, actually. They were kind of the forerunners of all this reality TV, except they were way more
Cinema
interesting.
Verite or something like that?
No, they examined things in the world like bizarre goings-ons
Really?
that people just...
Can you give an example? Because I think you're not gonna...
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of something I saw in there. Oh, you know...
I was really
interesting.
But I think I won't sing.
Interesting religious practices was one of their themes.
Like,
different types of worships around the world. Stuff like that. They're really good. I definitely recommend coming in and checking them out.
Mondo Cane?
They were made in Italy.
It's a movie.
Mondo Cane means it's a dog's life.
Really?
Dog's world, I think.
Oh.
And it's they were Italian movies.
So you're so Mondo Cane is number 6, and then you're kind of you're into the French language.
Well, yeah, I sure do. Yep.
You're like so you'd be studying French about how many hours a day back in the day?
Oh man, I used to study it for hours, 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours every day.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Study. I wish I still could. I'm going to try and get back into it a little
Studying
bit.
French.
I want to get back into it a little bit.
And that fascination with studying French is.
Well,
and you're also kind of looking for. You need an interpreter. You're looking for an interpreter.
No.
You need a couple words that are.
No. I want to talk to a translator about how to set up a translation business.
Oh, okay.
That's all I was trying to do.
And then you're looking to get a.
I'm also looking.
You're looking to get a painting reproduced.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down. Actually, tomorrow I'm gonna go down and talk to some art galleries and see if they can hook me up with an artist that I can consult with. Because I'd rather, instead of sending it through the mail and having it done, I'd rather sit and consult with an artist and see if they feel confident enough they can reproduce.
They can reproduce. And this painting is of a.
It's a bulldog dressed as an army general. It's an old painting.
God, I wish I didn't laugh at that.
Well, it's all right.
It would have made it so much better.
It was in a cigar store in San Francisco.
Yeah. Again, San Francisco. Here we are.
The bulldog became a symbol of the cigar shop in the early 1900s.
Really?
Yeah, there's an interesting story behind that. An artist named Coolidge was commissioned by a cigar company to paint a series of dogs smoking cigars. The theme caught on, and it became known for every gentleman around the world that the bulldog went with the cigar.
Really? That's men are into like poker, cigars, and whiskey.
That's what a lot of men are into. Yeah, poker, cigars, and whiskey.
And then, because there's also like you would have like bulldogs smoking. I'm jamming there a little bit, but you'd have like paintings of bulldogs playing poker, drinking whiskey, and smoking cigars.
Those were the Coolidge paintings that I just talked
really?
about.
Okay.
Yeah, those were. He did a whole series of them.
Huh.
You've seen them. That indicates that how famous they are.
Yeah, I remember Uncle Frank had one of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up there, don't you know?
Well, I'm gonna see if I can find an artist who can reproduce this painting.
Yeah, so maybe you can do a call out right now. Shout out.
It's gonna have to be a pro.
Shout out to artists out there who can reproduce a Coolidge bulldog painting for days.
It's gonna have to be a pro.
Pay about how much to get this painting reproduced?
Man, I don't know. That's all. That has to be negotiated.
And then what are you gonna do with this painting?
Well, I'm gonna hang it in the house.
Hang it in the house and then look at it.
Because it's representative of what I want to be.
God.
Which is.
I'm ruining this.
Which is the
Great
old.
show by laughing.
You see, I think that the gentlemen of days gone by had it a lot easier in life.
Back when all you would do is play poker and smoke cigars and drink whiskey.
Today's world is not for me. It's way too complicated and way too confusing, and there's just too much going on. It's just not fun anymore.
See, I love it nowadays.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's become dull with the internet, and things were better off when people did things by hand. And
This is where we are, you know. We gotta try to make the best out of it. That's what happens.
it's no fun. It's just no fun.
Not any fun. But so you're gonna have this painting hanging up in the house, and
Well, first I got to get it done.
then but what are your plans? To,
I don't know. I got to meet with an artist and see if they can I got to find somebody who can reproduce it.
yeah.
That's not going to be easy because I'm not going to settle for any old schmuck who just says I can do it. I want somebody who's going to have an intrinsic understanding of the
Any
right,
old schmuck.
of the right canvas to use. The right. An honest person would tell me, "Hey, I don't think I can reproduce it." It's not an easy painting to reproduce.
Huh.
So it's definitely going to be a challenge for the artist.
Yeah. So I guess you can get on that, and maybe you're kind of doing it right now. You're kind of on it, right? So that's good. Figuring it out as you go along, right?
Exactly.
As you can tell, I'm busy using this laptop that I haven't ever used before. Trying to make the jams flow. You know? So pretty much next week we're going to have a whole different show planned.
Who's going to be on next week?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get guest host.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
I was thinking
Santiago's going to be gone for a while, isn't
he's
he?
gonna be. I don't know. I think he's gonna be gone for about 3 weeks or something, a couple of weeks.
Well-
It's more of this whistling stuff. Jamming that out, man. Jam that whistling. You know, so I guess should I talk about my weekend?
Sure, go
I worked
ahead.
For the Latvians, those Latvian people I noticed partied harder than any people I've ever met before. I was doing a lot of jobs. I was working on making sure the Latvian people had lots of beverages to drink, and that went well. They dance and they sing. See, this is back to these.
What do they look like?
They're kind of a tallish people, and they're that kind of Eastern European, and the women were kind of tall, I thought.
Were they attractive women?
You know, I actually thought that, they were attractive people, yeah, I guess. I had this one great band that came from Latvia, and they were really great. That was the highlight of it for me, although it was hours hours and hours and hours of bands from Latvia that was playing. So after my fourth day of it, I was could barely stand anymore. But hey, so pick number. We got about 5 minutes to go. How about pick number 7? About 3 minutes to go. Pick number 7.
I think I hit them all, man. I think. Oh, Coffee with Pam Grier.
Coffee. Everybody knows about that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people haven't seen it, and it's one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films. I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of the scenes in Pulp Fiction were based on scenes in Coffee. I'll give you an example. Remember the scene in Pulp Fiction where Harvey Keitel says, that's a great cup of coffee?
I do remember that.
That was taken right out of the movie Coffee. That very scene.
Was it during
What?
Was there like a crisis happening and then...
I can't hear you. The music's too loud.
Was there a crisis happening and then like some kind of like
no, it wasn't a crisis.
comment?
But what's interesting is how Quentin Tarantino, if you know what he was influenced by, you can see a lot of it in his films. That's why I think it's important to try and get the original films and get them going. Kind of got this guy outside the window here who's, I don't know what he's up to now, but it's kind of strange, man. Do you know that guy?
I do not know him, no.
That was weird.
It was? What happened?
So it was kind of odd. That's all.
I think I wanted to join the show or something. Kind of into it. So, it's a pretty great show tonight. Really happy that had another big winner. So we'll have to have a good week, everybody, and see y'all soon. Right? So thanks a lot, Dave, for being on the
No problem, Chuck.
Chuck and Santiago show. Santiago calls it the Chuck and Santiago show. I call it the Santiago and Chuck show. Chuck and Santiago show sounds good to me. Did you know that I tried to change my name to Charles and couldn't do it? People wouldn't let me because they won't call me Charles. But did
really?
A bunch of times, yeah. All right, so take it easy, everybody.
All right, guys, have a good one. Oh.